What's going on, Dolphins? It is your boy Dillon, and I'm making this video because I was reading through an article from Alain Poupart. I'm sure you guys know who he is. He's a Dolphins writer. He writes for Sports Illustrated, and he put out his Dolphins Mailbag, right? You know, so he got people, you know, to send in questions. You guys know what a mailbag is. Send in questions, and he answered them here in this article. And I thought he did a really good job. I really liked his answers. He was honest about it with his answers, and so I want to go through these because it was really good, and it brings up several topics, including big Tua questions, the offensive line, Holland, and more. And these are questions from fans answering questions about Tua, Waddle, Holland, and other stuff. So first question is, after the first days of OTAs, how do you feel about the offensive line, and are there many changes? And so remember, these answers are coming from Alain Poupart. Well, let me first begin by saying that the Dolphins media policy prevents us from telling you who was working at what spot, so when it comes to changes, can't say anything. Besides, based on recent history, it's entirely likely that different linemen will be working at different spots until the Dolphins settle on a starting five. So in other words, versatility. We're going to move them all the fuck around. And they don't know who their starting five is currently, because if they had a starting five, now they can't tell you, obviously, like he said in the beginning, and especially for this, you know, early portion of the off-season program, OTAs, I would venture to guess they probably are moving guys around. So I don't think they even have a starting five yet, which, you know, as Omar Kelly had said in his recent interview that gets referenced here, you know, the continuity aspect of it probably isn't going to play much of a role, because some of these guys, a lot of these guys, almost the entire offensive line is going to have new players in the positions, right? So in other words, you know, if Hunt does play right guard, yes, he was on the offensive line last year, but he played tackle last year, right? So he's going to be in a new position. And there's going to be a new center, a new left guard because Eric Flowers is gone. Probably the only player that's going to remain in their position will probably be Austin Jackson at left tackle, right? The other four positions are probably going to be players that didn't play those positions last year, even if they played on the line, right? So, and for me, that's a concern, right? And that's one of the concerns that I've had, one of the big concerns that I've had with this organization over its first 3 seasons is way too much fucking change, man. No organization is ever going to have sustainable success if you're constantly changing your roster and your coaching staff as frequently as they've done in their first 3 years. It's not sustainable, and it's not going to work. Anyway, I asked new offensive line coach Lemuel Jean-Pierre in a Zoom media session last week that what makes Robert Hunt appealing at guard, and his response was, that it hasn't been determined where he'll line up. So obviously they're not going to be divulging much at the moment. You know, we'll get more once, you know, training camp actually starts, because then it's going to be more open. It's going to be open to fans, which I think is stupid. Man, people are really, just real quick, people are really, really underestimating how COVID is going to smack this country in the face when they start packing people into stadiums and shit. But anyway, I think it's all a giant fucking disaster. I'll leave that alone for now. But so, you know, we'll know more obviously in training camp once that time comes around and whatever, and, you know, more information will get out. I mean, but if the thing is though, is if they don't settle on a starting five at some point, that's going to be really concerning. Before the season starts, because they need to get I mean, we've talked about this as Dolphins fans for years and years and years and years, right? It doesn't matter who is the coach. It could have been Gase, it could have been Philbin, it could have been before that, right? But for the past couple decades, right, it's been, when it comes to the offensive line, one of the big problems is having the continuity. Another thing that Omar mentioned in that interview that he did, I'll link it in the description box so you guys can watch it yourself. It was about an hour long. It was really good, actually. But he referenced the unicorn offensive line during Adam Gase's tenure, and he was like, he calls them the unicorns because the group of 5 individual players almost never were on the field at the same time, right? There was never the 5 starting offensive linemen were almost never on the field together at the same time because of injuries, mostly, right? And so, but when they were, their record was like 13-2. And I'm like, yeah, but that was during Adam Gase's years. Dude, people don't give... First of all, when people say he's immature, I disagree. You know, I just don't think he fucking took people's shit. And was, you know, Omar Kelly said that he thinks that Flores has a chance to be his own, or to succeed where the rest of Bill Belichick's disciples haven't, is because he's his own dude. It's not true. It's not true at all. He takes his marching orders from Stephen Ross, and to say that he doesn't emulate the Patriots organization is stupid. In that interview that I'm going to post in the comment section, take a look. He says, oh, he's not trying to be Bill Belichick or be the Patriots, and then gives you an explanation as to why he's trying to be Bill Belichick and the Patriots. His explanation is that he uses the same defense that Bill Belichick uses. It's the same exact philosophical concept. So how are you not trying to be him? It doesn't make any sense. And then you add on top of the fact that he keeps bringing players and coaches from that organization. How is he not trying to be the Patriots? It's absurd to say that. It really is. And that's why, look, I like Omar Kelly overall, but he's kind of a clown because he constantly contradicts himself. None of that makes any sense whatsoever. But okay, I mean, anyway, let me digress and let me get back into this because I am kind of going off onto some other things. But that interview was really good, and I probably will talk about it more, so definitely check it out. It'll be in the description box down below. In regard to how I feel about the line, it's a group with an awful lot of young players, and I think we have to say that the jury is still out on just how good a unit it can be. As a former NFL head coach, can't remember who it was, used to say, potential means you haven't done it yet. Exactly, right? And so we hope they get there. I'm not convinced they got the right guys, personally, but we all hope that they get there, right? And one thing Omar said in his people are expecting, and I've mentioned this, you're expecting your entire offensive line to take a massive step forward, right? You're Austin Jackson at left tackle, probably Kinley at left guard, who apparently is fat. We'll get to that in a minute. Which Omar Kelly mentioned in the interview, and he mentions here. Who knows? It could be Skura, maybe Dieter, maybe Jesse Davis at center. We don't really know. Right guard is likely to be Hunt, and then right tackle is either going to be Eichenberg, another rookie, a rookie this year, so you're going to have then a rookie, or maybe DJ Fluker. But I mean, like, Jesus Christ, you're asking fucking, like, your entire offensive line to take a giant step forward and betting the fucking farm that that's going to happen. On top of then also betting the farm that your quarterback is going to do that. And then also thinking that, you know, your running game that is already kind of lacking is going to be able to fucking adequately support that. And your wide receiver room that is full of injury prone guys is going to be able to stay healthy the entire year. And that Javon Holland, which we'll get to more in his mailbag, is going to be able to take on quarterbacking the defense as a rookie. Like, it's absurd. It's absurd. It's absurd. It's absurd. And in that interview, one of the hosts of the show had been like, yeah, you got, and I obviously have this philosophy, you have to have a proper balance of youth and veteran leadership. Because, and one thing he said was, and it makes a lot of sense, right? And I've kind of, you know, gotten to this a little bit myself, is that when you constantly just get rid of all the older guys, and fucking, not only do you get rid of the veteran leadership, the experience, etc., possibly some really good talent, whatever, team captains, leaders, right? Not only do you get rid of that, but then you're just pushing things off, is how he put it, right? You're pushing off the inevitable. And what he said is that, because you bring guys in and then you develop them up, but then you either don't want to pay them, or Omar Kelly said this organization doesn't like having veterans in the building because they know too much. Like, that is a terrible philosophy to have, bro. Like, get the fuck out of here with that bullshit. I mean, it's just it's a recipe for failure. I'm telling you, man, this year is going to be way worse off than the Dolphins fans think it's going to be. And look, man, again, for the millionth time, I wish I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I want them to prove me wrong. But man, there is so much information that points in that direction. The probability is way higher than not that they do not meet their lofty expectations, and that all of these players do not take the kind of tremendous steps forward that we hope they will, especially when injuries start playing a factor. So it's just, and the fact that they also want to use Waddle on special teams, Jesus, and he's still, apparently not all the way back from his injury. I mean, it's a disaster in the fucking making. Anyway, how much slower is Waddle? The next question. How much slower is Waddle now compared to his pre-injury status? I know it can't be a scientific answer, but is it highly noticeable? Because Omar Kelly mentioned in that interview that his ankle ain't right. That he's definitely not as fast as he normally is, because he's still rehabbing it, and he's definitely not back to fucking full strength yet. Well, and I'm telling you, man, if they use him on fucking special teams in a game, especially, it's funny too, because I actually thought about this. I thought about, the thought crossed my mind, what if they use him on special teams in practice and he gets hurt in practice? I mean, that would be the worst of the worst, because not only then do you fucking, hurt your top wide receiver, possibly for the entire season, depending on how bad the injury is, if it's an Achilles or an ACL or something like that, right? Not only, and your sixth overall pick, not only do you get him hurt, but you get him hurt on special teams, and not even playing special teams in a game, but practicing special teams. I mean, that would be the worst of the worst. And there's a potential for that. But, if they practice him and play him on special teams, there is a high chance that they get him injured. And it's just fucking stupid. It's just stupid. We don't know yet, but I mean, all of the signs, even their own comments are pointing to, Flores and Greer's comments point to that's what's going to end up happening, right? So it just, God, it's a fucking disaster. And then if you take into some of the other things, Jakeem Grant could be, cut, right? The idea and philosophy that he could be a casualty. If Omar's right that they don't like veterans in there because they know too much, like, Jesus Christ, that's a factor to take into consideration. So, of why Jakeem Grant could be gone, and then why they'll end up using Waddle. I mean, it's just so bad. All right. Digress again. Let's get through some of this. Well, here's the thing. The media has been allowed to watch one practice so far this offseason, and nothing was done at full speed at that OTA, which was Wednesday. So it's impossible for me to tell you where Waddle is compared to before his injury, but I certainly wouldn't be worried about it late May. And that's fair. Omar Kelly, was the one on the interview that made the comment that he's not there. And that's likely the case because, it wasn't that long ago that he had his injury, and there could still be some lingering, effects of that, right? So it's not out of the question, but also fair to say it's probably not something you necessarily need to worry about right now, but it could be, it's something that you have to keep an eye on, because especially if they intend to use them on special teams. All right, moving on. Next question is Hollywood Javon Holland the movable chess piece Coach Flo thought that Minkah Fitzpatrick could be, or is he simply our single high free safety and this dude is hoping the former. Real quick, I think that it's stupid. Look, versatility is great, and if you want your safeties and your corners to be able to play corner, safety, and slot corner, fine. Okay, I get it. If you want your secondary to be able to move around in that regard, okay, fine. If you want your linebackers and maybe your edge defenders in an amoeba 3-4-4-3 defense to be able to move around a bit, fine. And if occasionally you want your strong safety to come fucking, up to the line of scrimmage occasionally, okay, fine. Or, you can have corners and stuff and safeties blitz, like that's whatever. My point is you don't want it's one thing for a safety or a corner to come up close to the line of scrimmage, but to blitz the quarterback or maybe, help out and run support. But you don't want a corner or a safety to be playing the position of defensive end or defensive tackle or linebacker. You don't want them to be playing that position. If they're in that position in a certain package, but their responsibility is to do, a blitz or to fall into coverage or something like that, fine, right? If they're, in the formation, if their, technical position is linebacker, but their responsibility on the play, that's one thing, right? But to have to play him in that position and their responsibility to be the responsibility of, a player whose body type is significantly different, right? Because corners and safeties are generally, taller, thinner, don't weigh quite as much, right? The farther you go into the backfield, the defensive backfield, the taller and thinner and less weight you get. The further forward you go, I guess they can also still be really tall. So, everybody in the NFL generally is pretty tall. So that can also be the case. But the point is the body size is definitely way different. You get bigger. You get significantly bigger, right? So anyway, there is that. I just want to say that because the whole fucking talk about, Minkah Fitzpatrick and being a crybaby is stupid. It's absolutely stupid. There's no reason he should want to have to be, put into positions to literally play those positions. Like if you just want him to fucking, know the playbook, that's another thing, right? Especially if you're going to be the quarterback of the defense. Now, having said that, Javon Holland is a rookie, and putting that much responsibility on him as a rookie is also stupid. Because it's too fucking much, man. I don't care how smart the kid is. It's too fucking much. All right, now let me get into his answer. While Javon Holland has to prove he can do it, I absolutely would expect Brian Flores to see if he can do what we had in mind for Minkah Fitzpatrick. Holland has experience as a deep center fielder, a slot corner, and playing closer to the line of scrimmage, and his versatility, no doubt, is a big reason Flores liked him so much coming out of Oregon. Okay, so fine. If they use him, again, as a slot corner in some, packages, or as a free safety in some packages, or to blitz off the edge in some packages close to the line of scrimmage, or possibly help in run support, right? Fine. But if you actually use him and play him at the position of a linebacker just because he's so versatile and he can play so many positions, blah, 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 it's just stupid. It's one, misusing him, and two, putting way too much on his fucking plate. Because there's a difference between knowing the responsibilities as far as the playbook dictates and actually playing that position, right? Because there are certain techniques that go into playing certain positions. There are certain, there are various different responsibilities and things you have to look out for, blah, 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 blah. All right, continuing on. The next one. A certain Omar recently asserted that Tua's arm is still not strong and that Solomon Kindley is eating his way out of the NFL. Any comment on that? I'm not exactly sure why the first part is even a topic, because anyone who can look at things realistically could see that arm strength is not what made Tua special at Alabama, and it's not what will make him become elite in the NFL if he reaches that status. Okay, pause. Omar echoed that sentiment in the interview, but also I just want to know, look, and they're going to talk about him as if he's a potential left-handed Drew Brees or Russell Wilson. Omar Kelly made those two. Alain Poupart makes the Drew Brees comparison. But look, quarterbacks have a number of tools in their toolkit, and arm strength is one of those. Okay, so to say that that's never going to be one of his strong suits is a potential concern, especially because he's supposed to be good at moving, right? One of the big things that is great about his skill set is the RPO stuff, right? And so that means he's got to be able to throw on the move, including deep passes on the move. So that's a concern. And also the injury history that he has, particularly to his lower legs, can have an effect. And Omar Kelly talked about this as well in the interview. It can possibly have it, which it's funny. And this is another contradiction. He said, he was like, one of the things that you saw with Tua at Alabama that made him special was his accuracy. And I don't think there's anything you can do to take away that accuracy. And then later he says that the hip injury possibly sapped some of his accuracy. I mean, okay, dude, like, come on, have some fucking, logical and philosophical consistency here. I mean, if injuries can sap a quarterback of their accuracy, then why would you say that you can't take away a quarterback's accuracy? Like, what? It doesn't make any sense. But that is true. Injuries can do that, right? And so, because and as Tua mentioned in his interview recently, it is the throwing motion of a quarterback is a lot like a golfer's swing, right? It starts with your foot placement, right? You gotta set your feet. You gotta, your hips gotta be, you gotta rotate your hips. And then you gotta, follow through with your arm, but that just all of that momentum from you gotta engage your core, and all of that momentum from, the lower part of your body, and of course you gotta square your shoulders. All of that momentum from the lower body is what gives you all of the velocity behind. It's not so much your arm strength. And then if you can do that as a quarterback, it will also help to prolong your career and not wear out your arm. So look, I'm sorry that people hate when I point out these things, but there are very big concerns around Tua. His injuries are a concern. His accuracy possibly being sapped is a concern. If he's not already super athletic and super mobile, and if he already doesn't have a giant arm, well, he's starting to, and look, I know people really hate when I point this part out, but his decision making is in question as well. And so he's running out of potential tools in his fucking toolkit. There isn't really much left. So, this year is going to be absolutely huge for him if he is going to silence, doubters. Look, and again, I think he could potentially be great. And if I'm being honest, I really just at the end of the day feel bad for him, because I think the Dolphins are fucking him and fucking the beginning of his career. Because he wasn't brought into the right organization or the right system or the right, staff, coaching staff, etc. They don't have the right plans. They don't know how to build a team around him properly, and they're going to fuck up at least the first couple years of his career. And I hope that he'll be able to, anyway, let me continue on. So again, though, this is another person acknowledging that he doesn't have, elite arm strength. So that's one thing. So, if you're gonna, so just in the conversation of becoming an elite quarterback, he does not have elite arm strength, and he is not elite as far as athleticism goes. Okay, well, again, And if his accuracy could be sapped by his injuries, etc., knowledge of the playbook, he's running out of fucking ways to become an elite quarterback. Right? So, anyway, let me move on. Sure, Tua can get the ball downfield if he has a clean pocket and plenty of time to set his feet, like his deep pass to Jakeem Grant against Cincinnati last year, but he simply doesn't have the kind of arm that allows a quarterback to make ridiculous throws on the run or off balance, a la Josh Allen, for example. I mean, it's I'm sorry, but it's just not good. It's just not good. I wouldn't have taken Tua to begin with because of the injuries and being an undersized quarterback, etc. And look, I like the kid. It's not that. It's just, it's the mixture. It's not the player or the person. It's the mixture of things that are going on. Bottom line, I'm not sure we'll ever say Tua has a strong arm. As for Kinley, not sure about eating his way out of the NFL, but it's not far-fetched to suggest he carries too much weight. So that's just a nicer way of putting it. Omar Kelly's very outspoken and, very flamboyant in his way of, kind of like I am, if I'm being honest. And so I do understand Omar Kelly on some levels, but like, man, that's just a nicer way of saying it, right? Omar Kelly had he's eating his way out of the league. I mean, it's concerning, bro, especially because you're going to be relying on that dude to take a giant step forward. And he's apparently not off to a great start in OTAs. So, anyway, I've heard that a sports writer, not you, is concerned about Tua's arm strength after seeing him in practice. How does Tua compare to other quarterbacks when it comes to arm strength? Should we be worried? And this is his answer. Again, we're referring here to Omar Kelly's observations. I'll speak strictly for myself here and say I'm not concerned about Tua's arm strength because I never felt it was going to be what would carry him to success in the NFL. Okay. And it's fine if you're not personally worried about that. But again, this is a guy who was taken 5th overall and who's expected to be the franchise guy for years to come. To reach that, you have to be elite in some way, right? And Omar Kelly mentions, in the fucking clip that I'll, put into the description box, you win and get to the playoffs one of two ways. Either you have the elite quarterback or you have a well-rounded team, essentially, is what he said, right? I mean, more specifically, he said you can run the ball and you have a really good defense. But the two different ways are you have the elite quarterback or you have a really well-rounded team. And, and even in the interview, they acknowledged right off the bat that fucking Tua wasn't elite. So if you don't have the elite quarterback, that means that you got to fucking build a well-rounded fucking team around him. And I don't believe that's the case. Anyway, but that's the thing though, is people look at him like he is elite. And that's the expectation that is placed on him, right? So most Dolphins fans don't look at Tua and be like, no, we drafted him 5th overall so he can just be an average quarterback to game manage and blah, 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 blah. I mean, we had Tannehill for that. I guarantee you, they expect, the vast majority of Dolphins fans expect him to be elite. So, okay, we'll see how it plays out this year, man. I have maintained from the start, this is back to Alain Poupart's answer, I have maintained from the start, and I'm certainly not the only one who has written that if everything pans out, Tua's ceiling as an NFL quarterback is to become a lefty Drew Brees. If everything pans out. That's the thing that I don't like about this organization's philosophies, is everything is just massive gamble after massive gamble. I mean, again, reaching for players like Austin Jackson or, going up to get Liam Eichenberg or, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Not only that, but all of the injury-prone players that they love to take, including their quarterback and their top pass rusher that they just took this year, and their the wide receiver that they just took this year, right? So you have all of that injury stuff. And then the fact that they're constantly fucking just going younger and younger and thinking that, just because they're young and have big upside that they're automatically going to be better. And that's not necessarily the case. And oftentimes it's not the case. Anyway, and of course Omar references that in the interview as well. Let's see. Well, would anybody ever say that Breeze had a great arm? No. Breeze was very accurate and knew where to go with the ball. He also didn't have as extensive an injury history as Tua does, and not a gang of fucking, injuries to his lower legs. He had the shoulder injury, but that was basically it. And, he's had some other minor injuries throughout his career too. Everybody has little minor injuries, but significant injuries. It was like just the shoulder injury, unless I'm mistaken. Tua's already, before he has even begun his NFL career, had major significant injuries to his lower legs. All right, anyway, let's see. If you want me to compare Tua's arm strength to other quarterbacks around the NFL, I'd say he's pretty clearly in the bottom half. Off the top of my head, I'd say quarterbacks with a better arm would include Josh Allen, Zach Wilson, the fucking Jets quarterback that they just took this year, Zach Wilson, okay? Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Ryan Tannehill, Trevor Lawrence, Carson Wentz, Justin Herbert, Drew Lock, Carr, Mahomes, Prescott, Fitzpatrick, Cousins, Rodgers, Darnold, Winston, Brady, Murray, Stafford, Wilson. So pretty much everybody else in the fucking league. Like, really? Okay, I guess. I mean, Jesus Christ, dude. Again, that doesn't mean he can't succeed in the NFL, but if he does, it won't be because of his arm strength. Real encouraging, man. Real encouraging. Why has Tua's first year been received so negatively by media members, specifically local? His first year was better than Ryan Tannehill. That's not accurate at all. Inaccurate 100%. Here, as a matter of fact, I am going to pull up Ryan Tannehill's stats, and let me tell you Ryan Tannehill's stats in his rookie season. Okay? First of all, he started all 16 games. Okay? Let's see, he had 282 completions on 484 attempts with a 58.3 completion percentage. Okay, so Tua had a higher completion percentage, but he threw for 3,294 yards, 12 touchdowns, and 13 interceptions. That's not good. Obviously a rookie, and he was the most sacked quarterback in the league. Let's see. Where's the running? Does it say that? It doesn't say running here. Anyway, rushing and stuff like that. Whatever. Point is, though, is he played the full fucking season. He didn't get hurt. He got sent in from the very beginning, was one of the most sacked quarterbacks in the league, and he still set fucking rookie records and had better and, more stats overall. Okay, sure, you can point out the 12 touchdowns and 13 interceptions. That is fair. And it's an interception percentage of 2.7. Okay? But when you looked at Tua's adjusted interception percentage, it was 4.5. So if you want to talk about touchdown to interception ratio, now I don't know what Tannehill's adjusted, to be fair. I don't know what Tannehill's adjusted because I don't have that stat right now. But Tua's adjusted was 4.5. So it's not accurate. And Tannehill has rookie records for the Dolphins. Where's Tua's rookie records? It's just not accurate to say. Anyway, whatever. Was better than Ryan Tannehill and a fair number of other quarterbacks, yet it's as if he crapped the bed last year. He did. He did not have a good fucking year. His 6-3 as a starter is not indicative of that. His 11-5 is not indicative of that. The 10-6 record overall of the team is not indicative of that. He did not do almost anything for that team last year except fucking run around like a chicken with his head cut off, fucking miss on deep throws, get sacked, make bad decisions that he just got lucky on because fucking a number of reasons, and had his defense and special teams pretty much fucking hold his hand through the entire thing. The offense was garbage, right? And his individual performance was not good. Anyway, and again, it's not because I don't like the kid. It's just the fucking reality of it, man. It's just the goddamn reality of it. I don't remember Tannehill getting dogged like that after year one. couple of things here. Not sure comparing Tua to Tannehill is fair because Tannehill came to Miami with a lot of question marks about him as a quarterback, whereas Tua brought huge expectations because of what he did at Alabama. That's also fair to point out. But that's the thing though, is which is absurd because Tannehill was a quarterback in college. Not only was he actually the quarterback the last couple years of his college career, but the only reason why he wasn't the first two was because they already had an established fucking quarterback there. To say he was a receiver just because he started out that way in college is stupid. No, his position was quarterback. But he decided to play wide receiver and actually did pretty damn good at it because he wanted to get on the fucking field because he's a football player and a competitor. God damn it, people are fucking stupid. Like, Jesus fucking Christ. But I actually say that was brilliant on another front because that made him an even better quarterback for understanding the wide receiver position that much better. Anyway, whatever, dude. People are fucking retarded. Secondly, has Tua really been dogged by the local media? Really? Seems to me my colleagues on the Dolphins beat have gone out of their way to point out all the obstacles he faced last year that contributed to his uneven performance. And that is absolutely the case. Most of the fucking coverage and stuff about that I've seen is people trying to fucking protect Tua and not point out the fucking the harsh realities and the legitimate concerns. Starting to get there a little bit more recently, especially with some of his comments. But you know, real quick, another thing that I want to mention too is with the playbook thing. Apparently this is not the first time though that he's even said to somebody, hey, I don't really know the playbook, just give me a play and I'm gonna fucking wing it and try and make it work. Apparently he said that in the championship game, whatever fucking game Omar was referencing in the interview that he did that I will post in the description box, right? Like, so that's concerning. If it's a habit that this dude doesn't know the playbook, that is a problem. And to be fair, or to be frank, he might not have really had to have a mastery over it at Alabama because he had such a great offensive line and weapons around him and so on and so forth. And because all he did was, you know, basically just run an RPO. Anyway, I've also seen mentioned very often his 6-3 record as validation for his rookie season when, if we're being honest, he was more game manager than anything else in 2020. At best. And you can't even really say that because he didn't have... He can't even really say that because by his own admittance, he didn't fucking know the playbook and he wasn't able to make proper reads or adjustments or alerts. So you can't even say that he was a game manager. Like, you can't say that he was elite. You can't say that he took over games. You can't say he was a franchise quarterback. You can't even say he was a game manager because by his own admission, he didn't even know the fucking playbook and couldn't properly manage the game. I mean, like, that's what I'm saying, right? People go so far out of their way to twist things just to fit their own narrative. Like, it's absolutely absurd. And I really actually appreciate his honesty here. I think I might have been the local writer with the least glowing reviews of Tua's rookie season, and I've never written anything more critical than observing that the Dolphins' offense functioned better with Ryan Fitzpatrick last year, which was 100% the case. And look, dude, I don't give a fuck what anybody says. Tua didn't do anything that Ryan Fitzpatrick fucking couldn't. They could have still fucking got their way. And in fact, I guarantee you they would have had overall better performances in their games and the offense would have performed better overall if Ryan Fitzpatrick was the quarterback the entire way. It then would have given you the opportunity and the ability to redshirt Tua the entire year, give him another entire full year without having to take fucking live bullet hits in real games and get injured twice. Once to his fucking ankle and once to his throwing hand, right? And then he could fucking... I mean, I'm not sure that would have really even helped in his mastery of the playbook, and it certainly wouldn't matter because then they changed offensive coordinators and the playbook again this year. You know, but whatever. I mean, it still would have been the better option, hands down. And then you wouldn't have nearly as many questions about your supposed franchise quarterback because you wouldn't have anything to base it off of. Right? You wouldn't have a shitty performance to be able to critically analyze. Anyway, I think I've already read that, and that's pretty obvious unless you see things through Tua-colored glasses. And suggesting he still has to prove he can become an elite quarterback where others have written it as if he's a done deal. And that's what I'm saying. It's not even close. Not even close. But that's the expectation being put on him, is that he is now an elite quarterback, and that all of these super young players that are not even close to proving they're the players that they hope to be are going to take massive steps forward. It's a recipe for disaster. And I'm telling you, man, look, I don't want it to play out this way, but I'm giving you all the warning signs ahead of time. It's going to suck for me. Look, if the Dolphins only win 6 games, or if they, have key injuries and then they end up being worse than that, right? It's going to suck for me having to watch my team be shit. The difference between me and other Dolphins fans is I will have seen it coming, and I won't be brokenhearted because I will be prepared for it. Whereas on the other hand, if I get proven wrong and they win 10 plus games and, compete in the division and make it to the playoffs, well, guess what? Then I get to be happy as fuck and be surprised and have a wonderful experience, right? But Dolphins fans, if they only win 6, the vast majority of Dolphins fans who literally expect Tua to be elite this year, expect all these super young, inexperienced players to take massive jumps forward, and expect the Dolphins to be in the playoffs. I mean, God damn it, some Dolphins fans are literally saying they have to at least win a playoff game. This quarterback and this team has never even been to the playoffs. How do you expect them to fucking have the gumption, the know-how, the experience, any of that to be able to fucking win a playoff game? And then some fans say we need to fucking go undefeated and win the Super Bowl. Look, bro, I get being optimistic and having high hopes for your team, and it can be fun to be like, oh yeah, man, let's go fucking undefeated, woohoo! And it's cool to hope, each and every game that you win and want your team to go undefeated, but you gotta be fucking realistic. If you have the legit fucking, like if I mean, bro, you couldn't set yourself up for any greater failure than that. To like shoot for the okay. And to be fair, one of my favorite quotes in life is shoot for the moon, even if you miss, at least you land amongst the stars. It's a great quote. It's kind of cheesy, but whatever. Like, and that's cool, man. Shoot for the fucking moon. But don't bet your entire fucking everything on it. Like, don't, like, have, realistic fucking expectations and have, like, backup plans and shit, right? Like, don't fuck. Anyway, it's just, it's crazy. It's fucking crazy. Anyway, let's see. I'm not quite sure where this sense of persecution from Tua fans comes from, but outside of a couple national talk show hosts, Colin Cowherd sure comes to mind. I don't think there's been anything overly harsh said or written about Tua. And even what Colin Cowherd said wasn't that harsh, right? Because what he said is that for the first 8 games of the fucking season, okay, real quick, real quick, let me pull up Dolphins 2021 schedule. Let me pull this up really quick. Okay, let's see. Let's make sure we get the regular season. Okay, so let's go back, because what he said is for the first 8 games of the season, he's going to be the second best quarterback in the game. There's only 2 quarterbacks, because there's only 2 teams that play at a time. So unless obviously one gets hurt, there's only 2 fucking quarterbacks. So one's going to be the better, one's going to be second place. He said through the first 8 games. Okay, let's look at the quarterbacks through the first 8 games. And then let's also compare that to the list of quarterbacks that Alain Poupart said has a bigger arm than, just a bigger arm than Tua. So let's see. He plays Cam Newton in the first game. Okay, Cam Newton wasn't on his list, to be fair. Let's see. Bills, Josh Allen, definitely on his list. Raiders, Carr, definitely on his list. Colts with Wentz, definitely on his list. Buccaneers and Brady, definitely on his list. Jags and Trevor Lawrence, definitely on his list. Let's see. Falcons and Matt Ryan, Matt Ryan was not on his list, to be fair. But most of these fucking quarterbacks are on his list of, like, I mean, dude, it's not unreasonable. It's not unfair, bro. Like, people are getting so offended because Colin Cowherd said that Tua's going to be the second best quarterback through the first 8 games. I'm sorry, but it's true. Like, through the first 8 games, I have them going 1-7. Like, I hope I'm wrong, man, but I'm look, I hope I'm wrong, but goddamn it, I try and help cushion the fucking fall for people, right? Like, because if all the evidence that points to, you know, these big fucking hopes and dreams not coming true and coming to full fruition, right? If everything doesn't pan out, all of your fucking 1,000,001 gambles don't pan out, well, it's going to be a very long and rough year for Dolphins fans, and I'm trying to help people avoid the massive, 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 massive heartbreak that will result. Anyway, so, you know, but hey, I'm just fucking super negative because I'm trying to point out the fucking truth and the reality, people, be honest with people, and help prevent them from having, you know, some catastrophic meltdown after the fucking Dolphins do the same. So, you know, or do it beforehand. So, you know, whatever. It is what it is, bro. Anyway, that's what I got for you. I thought it was a really good, you know, set of questions, and I thought that he had some really good, honest answers there, and so I wanted to share that with you guys, and then, you know, obviously touch on some of my feelings and opinions and views and evaluations as well. And of course, I'm going to link that interview that Omar Kelly did in the description box, so if you want to see, you know, what he had to say in that interview, check that out. All right, with that, I'm gonna get out of here. I hope you guys appreciate my perspectives. If you do, make sure you hit the subscribe button, make sure you hit the like button, make sure you hit the bell if you want to get the alerts. Share my channel and videos with your friends and family. Leave your questions, comments, and concerns down in the comment section. And of course, as always, follow me on Twitter at Dillon Tartaro. And with that, I'm out. I'll see y'all soon. Phins up.